live in object fear of the one that we're supposed to be connected to, because they've told us you gotta walk this tightrope and this line, and if you walk along the line, he's gonna send you to hell. You could live 30 years worshiping and living for him, make one error, and if you die in that error, you go into hell. What in the name of common sense does that mean? Are you crazy? Why would I even serve him if he's that sadistic and masochistic? I don't need a God like that. And so if I am so focused on staying on the line, I can't fulfill my assignment. But my God is big enough to handle my fault, my screw-ups, my mess-ups, because he's already prepared for what I might do. He knows what I'm going to do before I do it, and he already made preparation for me before I get there. What follows darkness is light. That darkness is the indicator that light is getting ready to shine. So there it is in Genesis, when darkness was upon the face of the deep, and God in the spirit form moved upon the face of the waters, and then God said, let there be. Because darkness precedes the light. Are you understanding what I'm saying? But he needs the darkness there so that God can move upon the face of the deep, so that the shift can take place. Listen, look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor that shift take place in the darkness. Oh God, y'all didn't hear what I just said. Everybody's not going to see the shift that's happening. They see the chaos, but they don't see the shift. They see all the craziness going on in your life, but they don't understand that underneath the darkness, God is moving in secret. He's moving in quiet. He's moving in the hidden places. He's moving in the cracks and the corners and the crevices. He's moving in places that you cannot see. And when the light comes, they're going to see a new order. Some of you are even afraid to dream, afraid to imagine. But I'm here to tell you that you are an infinite, limitless, boundless being. Are you willing to do what is necessary to have what you desire?
Thank you for joining us. Please take a moment and like the Facebook page. Subscribe to the YouTube page and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live. If you are finding value in these enrichment sessions, please consider supporting this page financially. Your donations allow us to continue to provide spiritual enlightenment, self-exploration, and kingdom knowledge. Also, consider becoming a partner because partnerships have this privilege. As a partner, you'll be able to attend our annual Partners Only Summer Summit, join us for our 6 a.m. virtual daily guided meditation sessions, weekly advanced empowerment sessions, regular prophetic insights and instructions, 30% discount on all Emerge books and merchandise, and a custom Emerge t-shirt. You'll also gain full access to the private Emerge Movement community page as well as group chats. Once again, thank you for watching.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Emerge Empowerment Session. I'm your host, Isaac J. Miles Sr., and I am so excited that you have decided to join me this morning. Thankful for your being present with us in this learning and expansive conscious conversation. I don't take it for granted that you are here because you could have been doing anything else, but you took time out of your schedule to join us, and I'm not going to disappoint you. I'm going to make sure that I give you some information, insight, revelation that is relevant to your life and that can empower you on your spiritual journey toward wholeness. I want you to take a moment right now, those of you who are watching, and there are some who are watching us on Facebook, some who are watching on YouTube. Whatever the platform that you're on, I want you to do a couple of things for me before we get started. One, please like this broadcast. The more you hit like, the more the algorithm interprets it as interest and will begin to spread the reach of this particular platform. So I need to see some hearts coming up on the screen. I need for you to like it or love it, or, use any of the other emojis that are there. You can use the wow, or I think there's another one where they're laughing or even angry. It doesn't matter with me. All of it helps the algorithm to expose this particular platform. I also want you to tag as many people as you can in the comments. Those of you who are watching on Facebook. Now, you can't tag on YouTube, but you can on Facebook. Those of you on Facebook, just start tagging your friends, tag people that you know could use some empowerment, encouragement, and insight, and you believe that this broadcast would be beneficial to them. Then also, I want you to share it. Share it on your page, on your platform. Even on YouTube, you can hit the share button and you can share it on the different platforms, social media that you're on, or you can copy the link and then send it out in your group chat and to your family and friends and your mom and them and your cousins, and invite them to come and be a part of this conscious conversation as well. So if you'll do those three things for me, like, tag, and share, okay? Like, tag, and share. I would be deeply appreciative to each and every one of you. And if you're not already following my page or my channel on YouTube, hit the follow button, because I can guarantee you every time we come on, you're going to see and hear helpful information that you want to hold on to and practical application that you can begin to live out in your everyday experience. Okay? Thank you so much for being here again, and we're going to get into it. Now, don't be afraid to use the comment sections to ask questions or to give your input, your insight. That's what makes the conversation robust and expansive. So I want you to comment, and you can ask me questions about anything. Nothing is off limits. Absolutely, positively, nothing is off limits. I am more than willing to address whatever questions that you may have on any topic or any subject matter. You're welcome to put that in the comments. Let's have a robust exchange between us, an interactive exchange, so that we can all grow and expand in our understanding. So today, our topic, as you saw written in the description above, is about focus. Focus. How not to maximize the minimums. Focus. How many of you that are watching right now can use a little more focus in your life? You feel like you've got 100 million things running through your mind at the same time, or you feel like you're kind of all over the place, like a chicken with their head cut off. You're running from here to there, and you're like becoming the jack of all trades, but not the master of anything. That's an old saying. And you feel like, you just like things are kind of discombobulated a little bit, and you're easily distracted. And you get distracted by the little squirrels and little events that take place in life, and the little foxes that grab your attention. You're right in the middle of focusing on one thing or holding one conversation, and then something else pops up. And before you know it, you've turned your attention to the other thing, and then you try and come back to where you were before. And it's like something gets lost in the sauce because you're unable to really focus. I know I'm talking to some. I've got one person in the comments saying, yes, I'm certain that there are more of you that are watching me who may not want to comment, but you are definitely dealing with that, where you're having a difficult time remaining on task, or you get distracted by little things that come along and grab your attention and pull it to the left or the right, pull it towards something else. And before you know it, instead of your really being focused on what the objective is at hand, you find yourself splitting your attention up to all of these different things. And there is a principle that I want you to remember. Write this one down in your notes if you're taking notes. What you give attention to, you give intention to. I want you to write that down. I want you to remember that. It rhymes, so it should be pretty easy to grasp and remember. What you give attention to, you give intention to. Focus is so important because when you give your attention to a thing, your energy, your life force, your anointing, your spirit acts like a magnetic force and begins to draw the thing that you are giving your attention to, giving it intention. It brings it into your reality. It brings it into your world. You begin to notice it and experience it more and more in your life because that's where your attention has been turned. So it is very important and imperative that we focus our attention on the things that are the most important in our lives, so that we give intention to those things, and that we are not giving intention or energy to all of these things that don't matter, that are not that important. It is extremely important that we learn how to focus. There is a text in the Bible that says God, the all of everything, will keep those in perfect peace. Shalom. The word shalom there means not only a calm assurance, but it means wholeness and completeness. Creflo used to say, nothing missing and nothing broken. Well, it's saying that he will keep your mind in focus without any broken patterns and broken streams. If you can keep your mind, that is your attention, on the thing or the purpose that God has placed inside of you. When you focus on the divine, when you focus on purpose, when you focus on your original intent for being, when you focus on your God self, your higher self, when you focus on the God that is in you, through you, and as you, it helps to keep you intact and on task. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So I want to kind of dig down into this particular idea of focus and how you do not maximize the minimums. Now, I'm going to do something this morning that I don't do very often anymore, but today I want to use a biblical principle that is drawn from a biblical text. As we understand, the Bible is a book of practices, patterns, and principles from which we can draw those things that are applicable to life. And so today I want to draw from one of the principles that we find in the New Testament, encased inside of a conversation that Jesus is purported to be having with the scribes and Pharisees, where he uses a particular analogy or metaphor that highlights the principle of focus and not maximizing the minimums. This text is found in Matthew chapter 23. It is actually in verse 24, but we're going to read verse 23 and 24 so that we can provide some context for the text. Matthew chapter 23, verses 23 and 24, if you want to write that down, or if you happen to have your Bible or some other device that you're able to scroll through the Bible on. But if not, you can just jot it down and read it later. I'm going to read it twice. Once from the King James Version, which is the one that most people are familiar with. And then the second time, I'm going to read it from the Amplified Bible's version, which kind of gives an amplification of the text by inserting certain meanings from the original Hebrew, Greek, or in this case, it's Greek and Aramaic that's in this particular text. There's no Hebrew involved here. This is a New Testament text, and it happens to involve both some Greek and Aramaic writings in it. So we're going to read first from the King James and then from the Amplified, and then we'll take off from there. All right, here we go. From the King James, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees. Now, the scribes and Pharisees were people of religious authority in that particular time. They were the keepers of the Levitical law and the Mosaic law. The scribes most often did exactly that. They wrote and kept records. And then the Pharisees were the enforcers. They were like the spiritual religious police of their day. And Jesus is purported to say to them, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees. And then he calls them hypocrites. Let me define for a second. The hypocrite is not the person who, I use this old definition all the time from my days as a pastor. The hypocrite is not the person who who cusses and drinks and comes to church. The hypocrite is the person who cusses and drinks and comes to church and says, I don't cuss and drink. Okay, so it's not the behavior, it's the denial. It's the putting on the mask and pretending as though you got Jesus running all out your nose and out your bosom. You got the Holy Ghost just running all over you. And whenever you see me coming, I got Jesus on my mind. That's baloney. You ain't that deep. You ain't that holy. Okay, so let's stop all that nonsense. So he calls them hypocrites for pretending to be something that they are not. So it was historically understood that the scribes and Pharisees, who were the writers and the police of the religious order, didn't even live up to the things that they expected of other people. But they pretended to have this righteous, pious, and holy, strictly living life, when in fact they did not. Okay? All right. So I just wanted to make sure I give definition to who these people are and what these terms mean as we read. Hopefully we'll get all the way through it this time. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, and he calls them hypocrites, pretenders. For you pay tithe of mint, anise, cumin, and others, and have omitted rather the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought you have done and not left the other undone. So he is chiding them and chastising them for their pretense, for their masquerading to have everything together to be this holy, righteous, pious person. And they demonstrate that by bringing their tithe and their offerings, but then they ignore, he says, the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. Here are the weightier. He said, these are more important. So you see, he's drawing the contrast between the maximum and the minimum. He says, you are ignoring the bigger issues while you're focused on the smaller issue. And he doesn't annihilate the smaller issue or disregard it. He says, these things you should have done, the bigger things, without leaving the other things undone, the smaller things. So he's not saying that you shouldn't tithe, but he's saying, but man, tithing is not the biggest matter. Tithing is just one smaller matter. The biggest matters over here are the ones of judgment. And he's not talking about judging in a harsh way. He's talking about using discernment and mercy, showing mercy and compassion, and faith, operating in faith, calling those things that be not as though they were. He says, these things you have done, and not to have left the others undone. Now comes the principle we want to focus on. He says, you blind guys, which strain at a gnat and swallow a camel. Whew. You blind guides, he calls them. Jesus was kind of insulting, wasn't he? Kind of wipes out some of the niceties that we think about the person Jesus. He called them hypocrites, and now he calling them blind. You blind guides, he says. Your problem is that you strain at the gnat and swallow a camel. Have you ever been swallowed? I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. Oh, goodness. I'm sorry, I'm just being silly. I couldn't resist that one, though. You ever been swallowed? Okay, let me leave the bishop alone. I'm going to read it again from the Amplified version. Y'all got to put up with my silliness sometime, okay? Here's what it says in the Amplified. Woe unto you, self-righteous scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, and pretenders. For you give a tenth or a tithe of your mint and dill and cumin, focusing on minor matters, and have neglected the weightier, more important moral and spiritual provisions of the law, which are justice, mercy, and faithfulness. But these are the primary things that you ought to have done without neglecting the others. You are spiritually blind guides who strain out a gnat, consuming yourself with minuscule matters and swallowing a camel, ignoring and violating God's principal precepts. That makes it a little bit more plain. The phrase that I really want us to hone in on here this morning is the strain at a gnat and swallow a camel. The strain at the gnat and swallow the camel. This is the underlying principle for focus, how not to maximize your minimums. Okay? This particular phrase, strain at the gnat and swallowing the camel, is a metaphor. It refers to the tendency of some individuals to obsess over trivial matters while ignoring the much larger, more significant issues. The metaphor highlights the absurdity and the inconsistency of focusing intensely on minor problems while overlooking the major ones of the bigger picture. This is evident, if you will allow me to give some more context. This is evident in religion, in our political climate, in our community as African Americans, and also in our own individual lives. It's evident in religion because religion has this tendency to maximize on the minimums. We focus religion, they focus so much on visible, external behavior and not on the internal alignment and the spiritual being that's inside. They focus on whether you cussing, lying, fornicating, committing adultery, drinking, getting high, partying, and all you hear them talk about is homosexuality, lesbianism, and bisexuality, all these external behaviors that you can see. I preached a sermon some years ago called Sanctify the Me That Nobody Knows. That was a powerful sermon. That was years ago. I don't know if some of you from the Fitzgerald area remember that. Sanctify the me that nobody knows. Because it's very easy to point your finger at behaviors that you can see. But the weightier matter is the condition of the heart or the condition of the soul from which certain things begin to emanate and that guide your life. While you're worrying about their behavior that you may or may not agree with and may or may not align with your particular ideology or doctrine or dogma, you are completely ignoring the condition of the heart. That's religion. Religion says that if you have this outward behavior, then you must be tore up from the floor up, a sinner, lost and on your way to hell and have no connection to God. While the whole time the people shouting, dancing, speaking in tongues, rolling and spitting bubbles and jumping over pews and running down the aisle have an evil and wicked heart. Y'all not saying nothing. They have malice and jealousy and envy. They have bitterness and resentment. They have hatred locked away in their heart, disguised behind their hallelujah and I'm blessed and highly favored, and disguised behind slap your neighbor and tell them, give your neighbor a high five, shake your neighbor's hand like you're gonna shake it off, and disguised behind all of that is a heart filled with abandonment, rejection, feelings of low self-esteem and malice and strife and anger and bitterness and resentment. All of these things, they are the weightier matters while we are focusing on an external behavior. While anyone may have a difficult moment or day in their life, or have a particular struggle that they're trying to overcome that is visible to the naked eye, those are the more minor matters. And remember that the text says you don't ignore those, you still want to correct those, but the more weightier matter is to look at the root where from which the behavior comes. Y'all not saying nothing up in here. Sometimes the behavior that you see, not sometimes, all the time, the behavior that you see springs from a deeper root that has nothing to do with the behavior that you're looking at. The behavior is just them finding a way to act out on a particular deep seated bitter root that is in their heart, lodged somewhere in the corner, cracks and crevices of their soul that they don't adequately know how to reconcile. And so it comes out as a behavior that is unhealthy or that is disturbing or a behavior that may appear to be maladaptive, but it is not the behavior that should be focused upon. It is the condition of the soul, the heart, the passion that is taking place within them. It is the echoes that are resonating within their conscious mind that continues to interrupt the flow of information and light that is coming from their spirit, and then now covering it, causing them to perceive, think, speak, and act in ways that have been colored by their trauma, their hurt, their feelings of abandonment, their environment, their culture, and yes, their religion that causes them to conform to a world system that is a fleshly, humanistic system rather than aligning themselves with the divine spirit that they are. And the church maximizes on the minimum. Y'all not gonna like this. Y'all not gonna like this piece right here. I'm trying to get down to where I deal with the individual, but I want to at least hone in and park here for 1 second to talk about this, because if the church is ever going to be truly effective in impacting the lives of people, y'all not hearing what I'm saying? It has got to shift its focus away from maximizing on the minimums and begin to focus on the matters of the heart, of the soul, that will allow people to be liberated and free and allow them to begin to evolve and grow and become. There is a popular video that's floating around right now on these social media streets, especially being promoted by those of the church ilk of this pastor or preacher. I'm assuming he's a pastor, but certainly a preacher who espouses the idea of your being, solely committed and tied and loyal. I think that's what he's trying to promote, loyal to your pastor. But he says various things within the context of this message that are extremely problematic. And I actually reposted it and put, this is not the flex that most of you think that it is. He says, number one, that your entire destiny is tied to the words that come out of the mouth of your pastor. If that is not the most ridiculous nonsense that I've ever heard in my entire life, I don't know what is. Now, I understand it because I used to be of that same mindset. I even preached the same things back in the day. I promoted that same ideology that somehow your destiny, your future is tied to the words that are coming out of your man of God's mouth. Nonsense. Your destiny is yours. Are you hearing me? It's yours. It doesn't even make logical sense, yet alone spiritual sense. Because if your destiny is tied to one particular man's mouth, what happens if he dies? Is your destiny dead too? What happens if the church closes? Is your destiny now closed up? Yeah, come on. That is ridiculous. Your destiny is not tied to a man. Your destiny is tied to your divinity, to the God that is within you, that is ever living, that is infinite, limitless, timeless. And while a person may say things to trigger your thoughts and to excite you and inform you, your destiny is ultimately yours. You decide what your life is going to look like. Okay? He goes on to say that I am more Peter than I am Judas, and talking about cutting and fighting and doing all these other kinds of violent acts in defense of his leader, because his leader is on this pedestal that cannot be touched, as if they need defending, as if what they teach needs defending. It is listen to me, ladies and gentlemen, and I understand it. Used to be in the same position, used to say the same things. Guilty, 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 guilty. But a pastor that needs defending, a leader that needs someone else to defend them, is a leader with a fragile ego. That kind of fragility is ridiculous. I don't even, you leave out the other part where when Peter cut the ear off, Jesus picked the ear up, put it back on, and then rebuked Peter and says to him, man, wait a minute. That's not what we're here for. That's not what we're about. You represent me wrongly. Are you hearing what I'm saying? But the church has elevated this ridiculous ideology to almost mythical levels and then promote this as righteousness, holiness, or as this is how you're supposed to act, maximizing the minimum. Who cares if they talk about someone that you're listening to, as long as you're being fed by it? As long as you are gaining from it what you're supposed to gain, if everybody else rejects it, who the hell cares? Everybody can talk about them. Everybody can say what they want to say about. I don't give two flips. It's working for me. And for me, that's all that matters. If it don't work for you, you think he's a fake, you think he's a charlatan, you think he's a heretic, you think he's crazy, you think he this, that, and the other. Okay, that's fine. Wonderful. Don't listen. I happen to receive from it, so I'm going to stay there. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Straining at a gnat, swallowing a camel. And then this religious ideology stretches over into our now political and world arena that we are living in. In the world, not of it is a principle that people misunderstand. Because being in the world and not of it doesn't mean that you are not involved in it. It means that I approach the things that happen in this world system from a different and higher consciousness or perspective, so as not to be drugged down to the minimalistic ideals of this world. How is it that these so-called prophets, pastors, bishops, apostles, prophets, evangelists, teachers, missionary, whatever you want to call yourself, gurus, ministers, have so much to say about incidental behaviors of people, the sexual orientation of people, but this whole country is on the verge of falling over into an authoritarian dictatorship, and your mouth is closed. Maximizing the minimums. Come on, y'all ain't gonna talk back to me now. You ain't gonna talk back to me. You've got a would-be despot, a dictator, a wannabe dictator, a racist, a misogynist, a xenophobic, hateful, wicked individual running for the highest office in the land, a pedophile, adjudicated rapist. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Running for the highest office in the land, a liar, a convicted felon. And none of the prophets have anything to say? And the pulpit is silent? There's an entire group and organization set to do irreparable damage to things like the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, justice and policing, and the pulpit is silent? You have a captive audience every Sunday that you're going to stand in front of, and all you can do is slap your neighbor high five and tell him God gonna make a way. God is still in control. God getting ready to bless you. Turn around 3 times, walk over and tell your neighbor, shake your neighbor's hand like you're gonna shake it off, and tell him that the enemy can't have you. Really? Maximizing the minimums. Where is your focus? You cannot tell me that God is unconcerned about the conditions of this world that we are in and has nothing to say about it. All of that babbling and hikamabashanda yadadodobosa, and you don't have nothing more than money, houses, cars, land, wives, husbands, spouses? That's all you got? Come on. Come on. And the entire pulpit is silent. And in some pulpits, and especially in the white evangelical circles, they're not silent, but they are very hateful. How do you purport to be representatives of God condemning everybody who's not like you? Man, don't even get me started on that piece right there. How do you elevate this monstrosity of a wicked man to almost God-like status in your mind to where even the most evil, wicked thing he can do, you find a way to justify it. But then someone does something as small on the other side, and they're the worst demon from hell going to Antichrist. I had someone say on a comment the other day that, vice president is promoting Antichrist, the Antichrist principles and doctrines and policies. First of all, I didn't know the Antichrist had a policy. A political policy. Lord have mercy. That shows that you don't even understand what the Antichrist is as far as it relates to the Bible. Okay. But secondly, so I asked the question, well, which one? Is it the one that lowered drug prices, or the one that kept insulin prices at $35? Is it the one that created 14 million jobs? Is it the ones that passed the Inflation Reduction Act? Or is it the Chips and Science Bill? Is it the one that made sure that HBCUs got $16 billion in funding, the largest amount of funding that they've ever had? I mean, which one of these is the Antichrist? Oh, it's the one where she talks about women having autonomy and being able to make the fundamental choice about what they want to do with their own body. That's the one, right? Hello? And while you are concerned with, here we go, strain at a gnat, swallowing the camel. You are concerned with what happens to a fetus while it's in the womb, yet when they come out of the womb, you want to cut food stamps. You want to cut the social safety net. You want to cut SNAP benefits. You want to cut Medicaid. You want to cut Medicare. All the things that help the child. Free lunch programs, free breakfast programs. You don't care about them once they're born and breathing, just when they are in a fetus state and it's just tissue. Strain at the gnat, swallow the camel. Maximizing the minimums. We not only do this in religion and also in the political climate, but then also in our community. Can I talk to us Black folk? Hello, African Americans, my fellow brothers and sisters, kings and queens, prince and princesses. How is it that we're giving so much attention to the minimum and not focusing on the maximums? Things like building generational wealth, like expanding our community, like the safety of our community, like teaching our children and making sure that they are educated and understand the value of education and of hard work and entrepreneurship. How is it that we are more focused on reality TV shows like The Real Housewives or on these rappers like this silly child, I forgot what they call her name now. Ron had talking about her booty hole brown and all that stupidness. Sexy Red, that's her name. And you're concerned about being hoochies and hoodlums and thugs, instead of trying to build our community and becoming self-sufficient and becoming politically powerful and moving into the halls of power. We're more concerned about, when we gonna get another stimulus check? What the hell? Maximizing the minimums. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time there because I got a lot more ground that I want to cover, but I'm just giving examples of how we strain at the gnat, but swallow a camel. We maximize the minimums. You concerned about whether your little baby girl, your little baby boy can rap and dance and do the latest booty shake and twerk and, ooh, ain't that cute? You ain't concerned about the fact that they can't read. They don't know their colors. Y'all ain't saying nothing up in here that they are failing in school. They can dance, but they can't do algebra or geometry or trigonometry, or they can't do calculus. They can dance, they can booty shake, they cute, they dress down for the prom in the latest clothes, in the latest fashion, driving the flashiest car, but they're on the verge of not graduating or just barely graduating and being socially promoted, not because of merit, but because they're just too old to remain in the same grade. And so they just keep pushing them along, and they graduate and don't even qualify for a job at McDonald's. Maximizing the minimums. Oh, my baby gonna be a ball player. My baby gonna play basketball, football. My baby gonna be rich. Do you recognize the small, minute number of people, athletes, that actually make it on the pro level? And even if they make it there, the ones that rise to the level of superstardom where they make real big money, because those who are basically role players end up making maybe $200,000 to $300,000 a year for a very brief period of time, the average career lasting about 10 to 15 years. And then as a young man or woman, they have to live the rest of their life. And the statistics show that 75% of them go broke within 1 year of being out of the league, and they have nothing to turn to because they never focused on getting an education or honing a skill outside of their athletic career. They maximized on the minimum. And there you were cheering them on. It don't matter that my baby can't read. He can run that ball. It don't matter that my baby can't do basic math. He can run that ball, though. He can shoot. Y'all not talking about, I know this is not popular at all, but hang with me. I'm going to leave this right now. Hang with me. We got to learn to focus and maximize the things that are most important, and not maximize the minimums. Get our focus in the right place. So this happens with religion and with the current political climate, as well as in our Black community and other communities as well. But I'm talking about us, because that's mainly who's on here, us. Okay? But then also we tend to do this in the various areas of our life and our business, where you become obsessed with the things that are really not that important. It is so easy for you to get drawn in and distracted by minimal things. You're focused on building your life, building your business, building your family, building generational wealth, and you get distracted by a Facebook post, by an Instagram post, by a YouTube video, by a rumor that's floating around about you, by he say, she say foolishness and nonsense, by this one liking my man's picture, liking my girl's picture. This one jumped in my spouse's significant other's inbox and said ABC. Oh, I know I'm in here. I know I'm in here. Maximizing the minimums. You're focused on whether or not your post got enough likes, enough shares, enough views on your reel or your video. Maximizing the minimum. You're more worried about how your child looks going to school than what they're learning while in school. Maximizing the minimums. You are easily distracted away from the things that you are pursuing passionately pursuing that are in alignment with your purpose because somebody hurt your feelings, because somebody walked out of your life. Y'all not talking back to me now. Or because of some minor disturbance in the flow toward what it is that you desire. You let little things destroy your whole relationship with your spouse or significant other. Little things that don't even matter. Little things. Here is a person that aligns with your soul and you're with them, and the both of you complement each other and you're growing. And then they like somebody's picture. What you doing liking that picture? Really? If your relationship is that fragile, your trust is that fragile, you don't need to be in a relationship. It's just a matter of respect. Is that how you define respect? Not how they treat you, not what they do for you, offer you. It's liking a picture. Maximizing. Y'all not gonna holler back. Come on, I know. The minimums. Or in your decision making. Instead of focusing on what is right in front of you, what is the most important, you become distracted by a million other things that just keep invading your mind. And you've not learned how to discipline yourself and hone in, keeping your mind focused on the task that is right ahead of you. You allow your children, your friends, your circumstances, the situations around you to become a distraction, and you take your eye off of the prize. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Everything in your life has purpose and meaning that aligns with your ultimate original intent for being, and that is set up to assist you in your achieving the goals that you have set out for. Everything is for you. Nothing is against you. All things are synergistically working together for your good. So why do you become distracted when you show up to work and the boss is acting a fool and your coworkers are acting like they've lost their mind? And instead of your honing in and focusing on your reason for being there and the purpose that this job serves and the lessons that you can garner and gain from it, you get distracted by their behavior and engage your feelings that emote an emotion that pulls you out of character and causes you to lose your focus. You lose your focus, you stumble and fall, and before you know it, you lose your job, your opportunity, the door. Are you hearing what I'm saying? You get distracted. There are doors and gates that are open right now. I spoke about this earlier in our morning meditation. Those of you who are not partners with Emerge, you should be partners right away. And those of you who are partners should always participate in our morning meditation, because prophetic words come flowing into our meditation almost on a regular basis. I'm telling you. Woo! I spoke prophetically about it this morning, about a gates that are opening that lead to doors, and spiritual guides being there to take us through the gate and through the doors. I'm not going to talk about the rest of it. That's for the partners. You want to know about it, then you need to go ahead and partner with Emerge, get into the partner portal, then you can know about it. I'm not going to put that out here on the general platform. But if these gates and doors are open that lead to such and such and such, and you are being led, guided in through the gate and the door, and then allow yourself to be distracted by what was. Y'all not hearing me. By what was. That's not in the eternal moment of now that you are moving in. No, you're distracted by what happened yesterday, 10 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, an hour ago, a week ago. You're distracted by, well, my mama told me, my daddy told me, my cousin told me, and all those echoes that are going through in your mind. You're distracted in, well, I don't know how this is possible, how I'm going to do this, and how's this going to work, and this don't make sense, and this doesn't make me feel good, and my emotions are hurt. My ego is hurt. You're distracted. And you start maximizing the minimums and making a mountain out of a molehill, with forgetting that everything is for you and nothing is against you, that everything is working together for your good. You forget that's not just a slogan or a phrase. It's not just a shout line that we can say from a pulpit and everybody buck and holler. It is an actual, factual principle that everything, not just the things you perceive as good or bad or hurtful or painful or wonderful and beautiful, everything. Can somebody put in the comments, everything? Write in the comments right now. Everything, just the word everything, everything. That is all of it. Everything that happens, everything that occurs, every encounter, every meetup, everything is working together for your good. It does not say some things. It does not say things every now and then, particular things. It says all things, everything. And so you've got to maintain that principle within your conscious mind so that you don't become distracted by the all things. Are you hearing me? All things, the everything, because there's always going to be a thing. A hurtful thing, a painful thing, a disruptive thing, a distracting thing. There will always be a thing, but those things are somehow woven into the tapestry of your divine purpose, and they are designed, listen to me, they are designed to catapult you forward, to propel you, to accelerate your growth and your potential. They are not meant to serve as a distraction. You have to do, as another biblical principle testimony of Paul says, forget those things which are behind. And listen to me, ladies and gentlemen, with the passage of every moment, the thing that what that is becomes the thing that was. So it is behind you. Did y'all just get what I just said? I just said something that's profound that you really need to grasp. With every passage of a moment, the thing that is has become the thing that was. It is no longer the thing that is, because the eternal moment of now moves in milliseconds, in moments. And in every moment, you are in the presence of the now, and what was the now has become the then. So he says, I am forgetting what was just the now, because now it's the then, those things which are behind me, and because I am focused, intently focused on what is in front of me. Lord have mercy. Do y'all see me? What's out there in front of me? What it is that I'm striving for? What it is that I'm gaining? What it is that I'm reaching for? What I'm trying to manifest? I am focused on what's before me. And this is what I'm doing. Okay? I press, I lean in, lean forward toward the mark. What is the mark? It is the high calling. What is the mark? It's the prize, the high calling, the thing that I have been destined for, the thing that I am predestined for, the thing that I have set before me, the joy that is set before me. I press in, lean forward toward that which does not give me time to go turning around, looking at what was, turning to the left, turning to the right, being distracted by the winds, the waves, the mountains, and all of the other activities, the everything that is already working together for my good. So I don't really need to pay attention to that. I need to focus on what I'm trying to build, what I'm trying to manifest, what I'm trying to bring into view, what I'm trying to accelerate, what I'm trying to bring into tangible reality, what I'm trying to realize in my life. How often do you allow yourself to become distracted? Are you hearing what I'm saying? And lose your focus. And so you start straining at the gnat while swallowing the camel. Maximizing the minimums. You straining at the gnat, struggling with stuff that's not your business, that shouldn't even be your concern, that you shouldn't even be paying attention to. You over here trying to fix and tinker with this while the house is burning down. Y'all not hearing me? There's an old saying from Greek mythology that says Nero fiddled while Rome burned. He was more encapsulated and captured by his muse and music while the entire place was on fire and burning down around it. You over here worried about this little minute thing. Who said this? Who shot John? Who did blah, blah, blah. And all around you, your house is on fire. Y'all not hearing what I'm saying. Maximizing the minimum. And so what I want to give you in these next few moments as we draw to a close of this empowerment session are some practical ways of applying this principle of focus and how not to maximize your minimum. Okay? Number one, write these down. Number one, and if somebody who's watching don't mind, as I say them out, please put it in the comments and list it for me so other people will be able to read it as well. Okay? Number one, focus on the big picture. Focus on the big picture. Sometimes you have to zoom out so that you're able to look at the big picture and not become distracted by the little things that are happening within the big picture. You got to zoom out so you don't get pulled in by the little foxes. You got to zoom out and look at the big picture so that you can see that something that may look difficult, challenging, adverse right here in the long run is going to serve a greater or bigger purpose. When making decisions or addressing problems, step back and consider the broader context. Prioritize issues based on their overall impact rather than getting entangled in minor details that have little to no significance. There is something that's called the butterfly effect. In essence, a metaphor that's used is that a butterfly flaps its wing in Japan that causes the wind that comes from the butterfly's wings flapping to create a hurricane on the other side of the world. And what it is basically saying in quantum physics is that everything is interconnected. And so a minor thing over here has a much larger effect the further away it gets from the place of origination in another place. And so while it may look like a adverse, terrible situation here, the larger effect, the further you get away from it, you start to see that if it hadn't been for that minor thing there, if I had just left that thing alone and stopped chasing it, it was going to serve me over here. That what was meant for evil now has turned into good. Y'all not hearing what I'm saying. Y'all not hearing what I'm saying. What if Joseph had tried to climb out of the pit? What if Joseph had tried to escape from Potiphar's house? What if Joseph had tried to break out of the prison that he was placed in? Instead of focusing on the minors, he kept his eye on the prize. He kept focusing on the destiny that was in front of him and allowed the pit and the prison and the imprisonment, the pit, the prison of being Potiphar's servant, and the imprisonment being in the jail to eventually bring him to the palace. Are you understanding what I'm saying to you? David says it like this in the Psalms. He says, "It was good for me when I was afflicted." Lord have mercy. What in the world is this man talking about good for me when I was afflicted? Because had I not gone through this, had I not dealt with this, had I given my attention to that instead of giving it to what matters, then I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have learned. I wouldn't have grown. I wouldn't have evolved to the place that I am. And this set up that. And what was meant for evil, what was intended to tear me down by someone else's malicious intent, indeed work together for my good. So I don't need to fight and argue with you. I don't need to defend nothing. I don't need to chase down no lies. I don't need to go running by every little wind and doctrine and every little flicker of a gnat that flies around. I simply need to keep focused on the prize. You're going to have gnats that fly around. Gnats like bills and y'all ain't saying nothing. Come on. Bills and stress and sickness and affliction and naysayers and gossipers. You're going to have those little gnats, but you can't strain at the gnat all the time swatting, because while you swatting, you're not making progress. You got to stay focused and just keep walking and let the gnats fly. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? Quit fanning your gnats and just keep walking. Eventually, you'll get past their whole hive. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So zoom out and focus on the bigger picture and don't get distracted by the small, insignificant things that happen around you. Number 2, conduct regular reviews. Conduct regular reviews. This is about looking inward, being introspective. Periodically, review your goals and your activities to ensure you are aligned with your core values and your long-term objectives. Take some time out of the rat race, sit back in mindfulness and look inward in introspection and says, wait a minute, how does this serve my goal and purpose and the project that I'm working on? How does this? What about this? So that you'll know what you need to eliminate and what you need to hold on to. Many times you find yourself picking up strays along the way, picking up a weight along the way, carrying things and people along with you that only hinder you from achieving your goal or your objective. So periodically, you need to sit back and do an internal review. What am I carrying? What am I bringing along with me? What is it that has attached itself to me that does not serve me, that does not help to aid me in achieving my goal. Listen to this. Here's another idiom, an Isaac idiom. Everything good ain't God. You want to write this one down too. Everything good ain't God. And when I say ain't God, I mean that it's not God's purpose or will for your life. Just because it's a good thing doesn't mean it's a God thing. Y'all not hearing what I'm saying. Some of you are so altruistic that people can ask you for this, that, and that. You just can't say no. And you say yes to everything. And before you know it, you running from pillar to post, from hedge to high water, running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to do for everybody else. And you have lost track of doing for yourself and doing what most matters to achieving your goal. It's good to be kind and compassionate and caring for other people. But ladies and gentlemen, you cannot allow yourself to get pulled away from what is the main focus of your life. It's good to help people. It's good to be there for them. It's good to be a listening ear, a sounding board. But you cannot allow yourself to become so entrenched and so weighted down with everybody else's cares and concerns that you lose sight of your goal. Lay aside every weight and the sin, the mistake that does so easily beset you, and run the race that is in front of you. Are you understand? I know I'm talking to a bunch of you that are listening to me right now, because you are so big-hearted and so kind-hearted. That's nice, but you have got to keep your eye on the prize. That you've gotten to this place where you can't say no to nobody. You don't want to hurt their feelings. You don't want them to think of you like this, or think that you don't love them, or that you don't care about them, or that, you ignore, that you don't want them to think I'm not a good friend, or I'm not a good spouse, or not a good this, that, or the other. And so you run yourself ragged, and you have absolutely no energy left for your own life. I don't want them to think I'm not a dedicated, loyal employee. So you working and doing overtime and extra tasks and killing yourself for a job that will fire you in a heartbeat. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Come on. I've long since gave up that whole idea. I tell people all the time, you don't owe your boss no 2 weeks notice. You think they're going to give you 2 weeks notice before they fire you? No. They will let you show up to work that day only to tell you to go back home because you no longer work here. That whole 2 weeks notice thing was something that corporations set up for their own convenience, so that they can go ahead and make provision for the fact that you're going to leave, get somebody trained in your place so that they don't miss a beat. You got to do what best serves you. You so busy trying to be the great employee, y'all ain't saying nothing. You working 80 hours a week, and you don't leave any time for your own life and for what you want to build with your life. If you are giving 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day to someone else's vision and not giving none of that to your own vision, you are misaligned. You are maximizing the minimum. Well, I got to have a job to pay my bill. The job is not your source. The job is a resource. Y'all didn't hear what I just said. You got to shift your mentality. The job is not your source. The Spirit of God within you is the source of your supply. You can manifest money. The job is just a resource. And if this resource runs out, you find a different resource. But the source is inside of you. And so now you're giving all your time, effort, and energy to the resource And you don't have time to focus on the project that's right in front of you, on the thing that's going to serve your highest good and push you closer toward your destiny. So you have to conduct an internal review, introspection. See how many leeches and hangers on that you have. What's stealing your energy, robbing your attention, taking your intention away from the things that matter. How many leeches you got hanging on to you, sucking out your lifeblood? They're not bringing anything to you. They're just takers. Come on now. Let me keep going. I got to finish. Number 3, improve your decision-making skills. Improve your decision-making skills. We all live in the matrix of the reality that we create for ourselves. I say that all the time. It's one of my mantras. And who's doing this? Toya, write this one down in the comments as well. We all live in the matrix of the reality we create for ourselves. Write this down in your notes. This is an absolute universal truth. It takes you away from that victim consciousness, victim mentality. Oh, that my mama did this, my daddy did this, and they did that, and you made me feel it. No. We all live in the matrix of the reality that we create for ourselves. You are solely, ultimately responsible for your life. Not your mama, not your daddy, not your sister, not your cousin, not your brother, not your auntie, not your surroundings, not your church, not your pastor, not your leader, not your guru, not your minister, not your mentor. You are ultimately solely responsible for the reality in which you live. We all live. Toya, you put love. It's supposed to be live. We all live. Love, I. Yeah, you got to rewrite that one, Toya. We all live in the matrix of the reality we create for ourselves. So that means that you have to be precise and critical in your decision making. You are going to live with the consequences of your choices, good or bad. You are going to live with the consequences of your choices. Now, you can try and live your life in the victim status of blaming everything and everybody outside of you for your present condition, and you will never get anywhere. You'll just keep repeating the same cycles over and over again until you hold yourself accountable and take responsibility for your decision making. Nobody can make you do anything or feel anything or be anything. You always have a choice. Somebody put that in the comments. You always have a choice. You always have a choice. And you have to be critical in your decision making so you are willing to live with the consequences of your choices. You can't turn around and blame everybody else for the results that you are experiencing. Cause and effect says that your seeds of causation have a predictable, definite, and perpetual effect. So that whatever you keep choosing, you are also choosing the outcome. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So if you choose the cause over and over again, then you are ultimately choosing the outcome again and again. It is insanity to keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Man, I know I'm talking to some folk that's listening to me right now. You keep being in the same old rut and cycle of poverty, struggle, lack, need, and want because you keep making the same choices where your money is concerned, and you keep thinking that somehow God is just gonna bless you, and all of a sudden you're gonna get this big windfall of money that flop into your lap, and a money tree gonna grow in your backyard, and you're gonna be riding behind an armored truck, and a bag of money gonna fall out, and somebody gonna drop some money on your doorstep. No, I's gonna hit the lottery. Not. If what you are doing is not working, then you got to make a different choice and choose what serves you best by giving you the outcome you desire until it no longer does. And when it doesn't, make a different choice. You've got to improve your decision-making skills. Develop a structured approach to decision-making that involves weighing the significance of each and every factor involved. Techniques such as cost-benefit analysis. That doesn't just apply to money. It applies across the board. Use the technique of cost-benefit analysis. How much is it going to cost me, and how much is it going to benefit me? And do the benefits outweigh the cost? Does it outweigh spiritually? Does the benefit outweigh the cost? Emotionally, does the benefit outweigh, the cost, the benefit rather, outweigh the cost? Physically, does the benefit outweigh the cost? Does the benefit of the hard work and exercise outweigh the benefit of being healthy rather and complete outweigh the cost of the hard work and the exercise and the eating healthy? Yes, it does. Cost benefit technique. Does the benefit of experiencing enlightenment, clarity, and direction outweigh the cost of prayer, meditation, and fasting? Yes, it does. Does the benefit of love and acceptance and understanding and partnership outweigh the cost of disagreements and learning each other and being selfless in a relationship? Yes, it does. Look at the cost-benefit analysis. Use that technique in your decision making. Number 4, seek out objective feedback. Seek out objective feedback. Write this down. Seek out objective feedback. Engage with peers, mentors, advisors, life coaches to gain an objective external perspective on your priority. Another principle found in Corinthians says, those who judge themselves by themselves are not wise. In other words, when you look at yourself and begin to make judgments, decisions, and discernments based upon your subjective view, you're not exercising wisdom, because you will always view yourself from the subjective point of view. Even when you zoom out, there's a part of you that favors you, and it should, that will not allow you to always see the objective viewpoint. You see it purely from a subjective aspect. This is a good idea. This is going to work. This is for me. This is great. This is lovely. This is a gift from God. But in the abundance of counsel, there is safety. Another biblical principle. So have trusted integral, intelligent, objective persons that you can talk to offer you an objective perspective. Are you understanding what I'm saying? See, sometimes you get wrapped up in your own mind about what you think is best and what you think is going to work and what you think is going, and this is what I think and I feel and I know and I just think that I need to do this, that you don't want to listen to an objective viewpoint from someone outside, but that loves you, that has integrity, that is honest, that is skilled and objective, can say, hey, look, I don't think that's a good idea. Wait a minute, hold on. Have you considered this? Have you thought about this? Have you seen this? I see this on the horizon and this lurking around the corner. Have you thought of, are you looking at this? That doesn't make them a hater. You should know better already, because if you're already confident in the fact that they love you, purely love you and want what's best for you, they seek your highest good, then you know that they're not coming from a place of malice or jealousy. They're coming from a place of trying to help you win. So why wouldn't you listen? What's the point of having a mentor, an advisor, a life coach, a leader, if you're never going to listen to their counsel? And if you have someone in that position in your life that you don't fully trust, then you don't need them in your life in that position. Come on. Okay. Yes, Sharon. Sharon says having that kind of person in your life is priceless. Person or persons is priceless. It is. So seek out objective feedback. Okay? Number 5. Here we go. Cultivate critical thinking skills. Cultivate critical thinking skills. One of the things that is most missing in society, especially within the religious world, specifically in the church world, the church does not want you to think. I know that's harsh to say, but it is the absolute truth. It is the absolute truth. This is one of the reasons that I think that religion has become an existential threat to humanity. Because religion does not want you to think. They want you to feel. Y'all not hearing me. They want you to be emotional. That's the reason we grab the ear and tune up the organ and holler and tie those phrases together that trigger you and quote certain scriptures they know are going to trigger you to get you. They want you emotional. They don't want to engage your mind. They don't want to engage your intellect. They don't want you doing too much thinking, because if you start thinking, then you might decide that this doesn't serve me anymore. So instead, they want to keep you hyped. Play me some music. Come on, get with me now. They call it setting the atmosphere. Setting it for what? Setting it for what? Setting it so that you'll forget your critical thinking and be palatable in their hand, malleable, so I can mold and shape you, hype you, get you emotional, and pour into you to manipulate you into doing what I want you to do. All my preacher friends finna get mad at me now. All my church folk finna get mad at me, but it's the truth. It's the absolute truth. When's the last time you actually learned something from that church you so faithfully attend? I ain't said you heard some, ooh, that was good. Ooh, qualified to satisfy your every need. Hallelujah. Ooh, Jesus, I receive that word. Glory to God. God's getting ready to turn. I receive that. You ain't learned nothing. I'm talking about actually encountered something that made you have to go back and read a book and do some research and do some digging and studying, and made you to turn inward and start doing some introspection and start cleaning out your closet and moving some stuff out, and cause you to become more cognitively aware and conscious of who you are and what your purpose is and where you're supposed to go. When's the last time you were challenged to be more, to expand, to grow, to evolve, and not to become needy and dependent upon a church or a man? You have got to begin to cultivate critical thinking. Strengthen your ability to evaluate information critically. How do you do that? By being willing to ask. I just had this encounter on Facebook yesterday with this young gentleman who was just spouting off all of this religious rhetoric and propaganda until I started peppering him with facts. And one of the things that I said to him is that the problem is that you have become so entrenched in your religious ideology that you are afraid to even ask critical questions. Ask questions like, is this issue truly significant? Is this accurate historically, scientifically? Does this make logical sense? Does it follow the facts? Is this important? Is this germane to my relationship with myself, with my fellow man, and with God? Ask the who, when, where, how, and the what. Critical thinking, and do it openly so that you are able, with an open mind, to consider all of the information, prove all things, and hold fast to the things that are good. Try everything, consider it all, and then hold on to those things that best serve you, that prove to be factual. If what you believe and who you believe cannot be questioned, scrutinized, or examined and still remain true, then it's probably not true. You be mindful and careful of anything and anyone who says you shouldn't question. Like idiotic people talking about, you don't question God. Who else do you question then? If God has all the answers, doesn't it make more sense to question God? Since God indeed has all the answers? You don't question the pastor. You don't question the leaders. They're not your friend. They're your leader, not your friend. Like they somehow elevated above you. That's nonsense. You mean to tell me I can't have a human relationship with you and still respect who you are and what you do? Of course I can. And that your words are so powerful and golden, they are not to be questioned? That is stupidity and asinine. And any pastor or leader that does not want you to question what they say or do is suspect. You need to run, don't look back, run, don't look back, run, don't look back, run, don't look back. Yeah, I said it. You don't be questioning the pastor. Since when? That sounds like some Donald Trump stuff. You don't question the president. Since when? What? You sound like a fool. Engage your critical thinking. I guarantee you, if most people started engaging their critical thinking, a lot of the nonsense that we ascribe to you would never involve yourself in. Never involve yourself in. What caused me to walk away from the Christian faith? I didn't walk away from God. I have very much a tight, collective, intimate, growing, evolving relationship with the God that is within me. Absolutely the creator of the universe. I walked away from Christianity because my critical thinking was antithetical to the ridiculous rhetoric and propaganda being promoted by the religion. It just didn't make sense anymore. It didn't make sense for a long time. Okay, I'm not going to stay there because I know I'm hurting feelings right now. I got a few more and I'm done. Few more and I'm done. Y'all been hanging with me tough. Come on. Number 6, set clear priorities. You need to set clear priority. Clearly define what your priorities are and ensure that your time and your resources are allocated accordingly. What is your priorities? Okay, if your priorities are set in order, that is in alignment with what it is that you desire to achieve, then you're going to flow freely and forward. But if you don't have your priorities set, if you have this mixed bag of priorities and they're constantly shifting up and down the list, you're going to find yourself all over the place. It's time for you to meditate and to pray, but you prioritize sleep, or you prioritize cooking, or you prioritize, y'all ain't saying nothing, you prioritize, playing with the kids, or you prioritize giving Gertrude a ride to the store, or you prioritize something else. When your priority should be with prayer and meditation, or however you set up your priorities. And I'm not trying to set your priority list for you. You set your priority list based upon what it is that you say that you want to achieve. I have never understood. I hear people talk about they want to be independently wealthy. They want to build generational wealth, but they don't prioritize the laws of abundance. It's like, I want all of the glory without any of the work. I want this great life of financial prosperity, but I don't prioritize doing the things that are necessary to get me there. The laws of abundance, the law of circulation, the law of sowing and reaping, the law of compensation, the law of giving, the law of cause and effect, all of those laws that govern. It's like, how in the world are you going to build generational wealth and you're not a giver? You're not a faithful giver to anything other than your own greed and your own self. You'll spend hundreds of dollars on a meal, hundreds and thousands of dollars on clothes, but don't want to give nothing to nobody, not to a purpose, not to a charity, not to nothing. You ain't trying to give, but you want to build wealth. You don't understand the law of sowing and reaping, the law of circulation. You don't understand how money works, that money is attracted to momentum and movement and management and a mission, that is purpose. Okay? I don't get it. I hear folks say it all the time. I've got even some people who are partners with Emerge. It's like, I want to be independently wealthy. I want to build wealth. I want to have generational wealth. And then they don't give. Or they give sporadically here and there. They don't prioritize, y'all not hearing me, those things that align themselves with what they say their objective is. You need to have clear priorities and set those priorities and stick with them. Don't vary. Don't shift away from them. This is my priority. My quiet time of prayer, meditation, introspection, reading, studying are my priority. They are my spiritual and human priority in my life. So no matter how many things are going on throughout my day, nothing is going to interrupt or take priority over those things. They are a priority in my life. I will go as far as to say they are my top priority in my life. That's right. Above even my children. Because I know in order for me to be the kind of parent, the best parent that I can be, I need prayer, meditation. I need fasting, study. I need time of introspection and mindfulness so that I can be the very best parent that I can be. Are you understanding? Set clear priorities. I'm going to keep moving because it's been an hour and 45 minutes. Y'all hanging in, man. I appreciate y'all. Number 7, I only got 3 more to go, so let me move through them quickly. Number 7, balance attention to detail. Balance attention to detail. And I really need to explain this because some of you might take that the wrong way. Balance attention to detail. Balance attention to detail. This is number 7. Write it down. Balance attention to detail. What do I mean? While attention to detail is important in some areas and in some aspect, it should not come at the expense of ignoring the larger issue. Don't let perfection be the enemy of good. Lord have mercy. I was about to say one of them cliches. Who am I talking to? I know exactly who I'm talking to. Don't let perfection, some of you are so perfectionist that you become procrastinative. You end up procrastinating and getting nothing done because you keep trying to perfect every little small, minute detail. Don't let the perfect become the enemy of the good. Don't become so distracted and taken with trying to perfect every little small, minute detail that you ignore the larger issue that's in front of you. Strive for a balanced approach where the minor details are addressed appropriately without losing sight on the bigger picture or the prize that's in front of you. I'm not saying become raggedy or messy. I'm not saying being irresponsible. I'm not saying that you dumb down the level of your excellence. I am saying that you give it the attention that it is appropriate without allowing it to become so overwhelming that you lose sight of what it is, the bigger picture that you're trying to achieve, and you end up doing nothing because you're so worried about every little spot and wrinkle, every little tot and tinkle, every little widget and whatchamacallit. Come on. You cannot be a perfectionist and still be progressive. You can be excellent without being a perfectionist. Are you understanding what I'm saying? And so you've spent 3 hours just going over different fonts for the poster. The color scheme, the palette, the outfit that you're going to wear. You done change your clothes 10 times to take one picture. Ten times before you go to the meeting. You're supposed to be going to the meeting. The meeting is what's important, and you still trying to decide what shoes to wear, what blouse, what suit, what dress.
And you still up there pulling stuff out of your closet. Oh, Lord, now you're running late. And you're always late because you're so busy. You're maximizing the minimum. You can't even get where you're going on time. Because you're a perfectionist. Every hair has got to be laid. Can't be a piece of lint nowhere. Everything got to be sharp. I got to make sure everything lines up from A to Z. You become OCD. And so it's like you've lost your sense of wonder even and adventure. You can't even be spontaneous. You got to be analytical about everything. Come on, let's go. Well, where are we going? What time are we leaving? How are we going to get there? When we coming back? What are we going to do when we get there? How about let's just go and just take it spontaneously and have some fun? Fun doing what? I mean, what you mean? And what if this happened? And what if that happened? And what if this happened? And what if, and what if, and what if, and what if, and you what if the thing to death until it's not even fun anymore? Be spontaneous. I'm not saying be reckless, being reckless. I'm not saying being irresponsible. Give the details the appropriate amount of care and concern, but don't let it rob you of the experience and the possibilities. I have a friend like that, man. It's like we'll plan to do something. They can't be spontaneous for nothing. They got to know the who, what, when, where, the how, what, and take into consideration all the different policies and possibilities that could happen and scenarios that may never happen, and just make sure that we read. And by the time it's time to go and do the thing, it ain't even fun no more. You take all of the spontaneity out of it. Come on. Again, I am not telling you to be reckless and irresponsible, but I'm saying don't let perfection be the enemy of good. Okay? Number 8, which ties to that number 7, embrace flexibility. Sharon, I just saw your comment. She's like, hair up or hair down? Hair up or hair down? Yes. BM, she says, rigid. That's me. Exactly. Don't be so rigid, man. Loosen up. Go with it. Sometimes it's good to just go with the flow. Go with the flow. Do what you're feeling. Just do it. Okay? Embrace flexibility. Be adaptable in your approach to problem solving. Recognize when it is necessary to shift your focus from a minor detail to a more significant concern, and vice versa, based on the changing context and the priority. Be flexible and adaptable. Embrace that flexibility. Don't be so rigid that it has to be A, B, C, D, E, F, G. When sometimes it may have to be A, C, F, G, W, Z, Q. You understand what I'm saying? Everything may not fall into the order that you think that it should. So what? It's okay. Breathe. Adapt and be flexible. Sometimes life can blindside you. Turn on a dime, a twist, a turn, an ebb or flow, and it shifts without warning. You can either go to pieces or you can adapt. You can either get upset, get mad, cry, fall, break down. Oh my God, this ain't supposed to happen. You weren't supposed to do this. I can't believe it. And pull your hair out. Or you simply adapt and be flexible. You embrace the change and roll with it. Lean into the curve. Lean with it. Rock with it. Flow with it. Go with it. because it's all working together for my good. Nothing is against me. Everything is for me. So I can adapt and I can flow. This ain't going to kill me and it's not going to disrupt me. No one monkey going to stop no show. I didn't expect this, but I'm ready. Let's go. Wasn't looking for this. This caught me off guard, caught me by surprise. But guess what? I'm adaptable. I can handle it. I can deal with it. There has no temptation taken me, but such as common. It ain't like nobody else has ever gone through this before. But God is faithful that he won't allow me to be tested or tempted above that which I'm able. And will with it make a way of escape that I might be able to. Not escape doesn't mean get away from it, to bear it. In other words, adapt to it. Flow with it. Ride the wave. Roll with it. Lean with it. Come on, y'all. Okay? And then finally, number 9, promote a holistic view. Promote a holistic view. I'm trying to finish up. Whew. This is it. Promote a holistic view. Encourage a culture, whether in your personal life or within an organization or community that you're involved in, that values a holistic perspective. This can involve regular discussions about overarching goals and the relative importance of various tasks and issues. A holistic approach to life and perspective, not just an individualistic perspective, but a holistic. How does this affect all of the areas of my life? And how does it affect all of those who are connected to my life? What are all of the possible variables? And always consider how it's going to affect every single aspect of your being, as well as those who are connected to your being. You don't make decisions and choices in a vacuum. Because we are one soul, individualized into unique experiences, we are all interconnected together as one body. And so, as Paul said, can the hand say that because I'm not the foot that I don't matter? Of course not. Okay? So everything that every part and every one of us do affects the culture, the environment, and the connectivity of all unique souls around us. So look at it from that perspective and consider the holistic view of your actions, your choices, your decisions. Okay? Applying these strategies, individuals can avoid the pitfalls of straining at a gnat and swallowing a camel, maximizing the minimums, and begin to ensure that their efforts are directed toward the most impactful and meaningful aspects of their personal and professional lives. And I'm done. It's been 2 hours. Great day. I'm normally not on this long, but I appreciate those of you who were tenacious enough to stay with me and to hang in here and get all of this information. I know it was a lot to take in and a lot to swallow. So the video will be left up in all places on all the platforms, YouTube, as well as all of the different Facebook pages, so that you're able to go back and replay any aspect of it that you desire and listen to it again and take it in. It's a lot to digest, and I want you to digest it and distill it into your psyche, your intellect, your consciousness, so that you can be empowered by it. Okay? I'll leave the video up. I appreciate your being here. Now I'm going to ask you to do your part in supporting this platform with a gift, a seed, a sacrifice. Those of you who are partners with your tithe, your teruma, your tithe, to make sure that you do that so that we're able to continue to build and expand this platform and reach more and more people with this empowering good news. So I'm going to put up now the ways and means that you can give. You can use our CashApp, Zelle, PayPal, or Venmo. I'm asking you to give a significant gift today. I'm not telling you what that amount is. It should be significant. And whatever you describe significant as, then that's fine. But I want you to give a significant offering, gift, or seed. Sow it into the soil of this work, this platform, to help me to help others. I appreciate your generosity and your thoughtfulness and your commitment and loyalty. Take a moment and sow your seed right now so you don't forget about it once we go off the air. Those of you who feel an unction to sow a seed of $5,000 or more, please use Zelle or PayPal, as in Cash App and Venmo. Don't handle those larger amounts well. But if you're doing any gift under $5,000, you can use any of those vehicles that you see on the screen. You feel that unction, don't push back, just do it. Whatever the amount is, give a significant gift, whatever that amount that comes to your mind, that emerges within you. You're hearing it. Now give it without hesitation, without question, and without resentment. Thank you. I appreciate your generosity and your giving. And I appreciate your presence. I'm here every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. for the Emerge Empowerment Session. I invite you to join me every Sunday. And I invite you to consider becoming a partner with the Emerge movement. All you need to know is written in the description above. Simply send me the email requesting the information packet. I will send it out to you immediately for you to consider and peruse. And once you have done so, you simply sign the partners agreement and send it back to me. And you are immediately a partner with the Emerge movement. You'll gain access to the Emerge Partner Portal, be able to take advantage of our early morning meditation, our diving deep sessions we have every Wednesday night, where we deal with subject matters way beyond the things we talk about out here on this public platform. And you receive prophetic and apostolic insight on the things that are happening in and around the global community. We also have our annual Partner Summit that's coming up in September right now. We'll be meeting in Hilton Head, South Carolina for a wonderful weekend of fun and enlightenment together. You can gain access and become a part of that summit by simply becoming a partner with the Emerge movement. And so much more. You get discounts on all of the merchandise and free t-shirts and other things of that matter. It's just the partnership has its privileges. So I invite you to partner with us. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you again for coming. And I will see you next week at this same time for the Emerge Empowerment session. Have a great day.
Some of you are even afraid to dream, afraid to imagine. But I'm here to tell you that you are an infinite, limitless, boundless being. Are you willing to do what is necessary to have what you desire?
You've been listening to Apostle Isaac Miles, the disruptive innovator, a mentor, an author, a motivational speaker, an entrepreneur, and the founder and spiritual director at emergelec Life Enrichment Center. Please take a minute to subscribe, like, and share this page. If you'd like to become a partner, you can do so by emailing us at emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com. Again, that's emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com. Once again, thank you for watching.